Hi, this is David here at Highland Campervans and welcome to the handover video for this auto sleeper Warwick XL. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take you around and show you the primary functions and features of this vehicle to help you get all settled for your first few trips away in the van. This video will make a great reference guide, so I do recommend that you maybe download it to your device or maybe bookmark it for later use, and that way there you can refer to it when you're out and about, as it were. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with this video and I will see you at the end. Bye for now. Along the driver's side of your Warwick, you're going to find various different outlet ports on your vehicle. So start at the very back. This portlet here is a mains water access port. So there's a cable that comes with your Warwick which you can plug in here, and that then will provide your van with a full fresh water supply with the inbuilt water pump just on here. This device under this one, this is the TV point for an external TV aerial. Some campsites do offer that, where you can plug into a main TV zone or a satellite unit, and that's the connection point there for that if you've got the television installed. This here is your electrical hookup point. So with electrical hookup points, it's recommended that you do not travel with a live cable. So plug your van in first and then plug the other end of the cable into your energy source. Do always double check if you're on a campsite. Check the breaker switch, make sure that is working correctly. You don't want your van to be the last line of defense, so make sure that breaker switch at the energy point is working correctly. Located down just underneath the van on either side, so you've got the grey and you've got blue. These are your freshwater tank drain and grey wastewater drain. So important for draining the water down. Now I recommend after every trip, if the van's not going out straight away again, is to drain the freshwater tank so you don't get stagnant water lying in the tank. And again, don't forget to empty the grey water as well. Now for winterization, it is important to make sure that you do drain the vehicle down completely. So again, make sure that you empty the fresh tank, empty out the drain tank. What's not a bad maybe idea to do as well is, once you empty out the tanks, is take the vehicle for a quick drive with the taps open, just to flush out the last of the water, ready for winterization. So moving on down. This just here is the access port for the onboard LPG gas tank. Now, there are various different agencies around the area and up and down the country which allow you to refill the gas system. Highland Campervans, we have LPG available for campervans and motorhomes. So once you're ready to fill the gas, there is an indicator just inside the dash to let you know how the gas is getting on this particular model. I will show you that in another part of the video. This is just a case that you just push and turn to remove this unit just here and then connect your gas bayonet. Now, some garages will let you do it yourself, or other garages will insist on doing the fill for you. Just check in with the operator before getting gas on board. Once you're done, it's just a case of just putting the cap back in, rotating it back around, and locking it back off like so. So last thing to show you on this side of the van is the toilet cassette. So it's behind this access panel just here. Now you will need to unlock it first using the habitation key supplied. Once you've done, it's a case of push the two buttons, open up the flap, and then you've got your toilet cassette unit hiding in here. To release the toilet cassette, you need to lift the blue flap up, okay? And that will then allow the cassette to retract out. It's worth noting that if the cassette doesn't seem to want to come out, check inside the van and make sure that the toilet flap for the toilet bowl isn't actually open to allow waste to pass through. If that is open, then the toilet cassette is locked into place. So check that if this isn't coming out. So retract the cassette, like so. Now the cassette has little wheels on the bottom, and it does have an extendable handle here to allow you better access or transport, or you do have two carry handles like so. And then once you're ready to empty, turn the nozzle, undo the cap. It's worth noting that the cap does also double up as a fill point measuring cup for toilet chemicals. So once you're ready to empty, you tip, press the button here to release the pressure and drain out the cassette. Once you have drained out the cassette, what you want to do is flush it out at least 2 times and then fill the water up to about just above the wheels, add your chosen chemical, and then you're ready to put that back in again. If you need a deeper clean, then the blue toggle here will allow you to release this cap so you can get a hose straight into the top. To put the cassette back in, it's wheels first, put it back in until it clicks. And that's the cassette back in place. Shut the door and don't forget to lock once you're done. Down along the passenger side of your Warwick, you are going to find this filler flap just here. Now this is your fresh water fill. So what you will need to do, you will need to take the key, unlock the key just here at the cap, turn the cap, and then remove the cap ready for water. So once you're ready for water, take your hose, insert it, and then run water in. Now, there is a slight overflow underneath the tank, so you may see water drip when the tank is full, or if you can maybe get water backwash out. But once you're happy with the level of water, retract your hose, take your cap back in, and then don't forget to lock your cap, and that covers the freshwater fill. Now we're going to have a look at the battery location for the leisure system, and we're going to have a look at the boiler and the drain tap for the boiler. So to get access to these two devices, we do need to clear the cushions on the sofa seat, which is located on the driver's side of the van. So this is the driver's side bunk, if you like. So we're going to lift this up to give us access, and down the back here is the leisure battery system. So that's your leisure battery there with the charging controller and the solar controller hiding in the background there, as it were. So if you need to check your battery, that is where you'll find it located in your Warwick. So the boiler is located down at the back, look, as you can see just here. And next to the boiler, you may notice there's the grey tap, which is the gas isolation tap for the hot water system. That just turns like so to isolate the gas system. Okay, so to drain the boiler, we need to actually access the boiler drain through this white cap at the very top here. So if we lift this up, that little pull, and there it is there. That yellow tap is the draining tap for your boiler for winterization. So when you're ready to drain the boiler, it's a case of just rotate the tap to the side, and that will then drain water. You'll get water drain underneath the van at the backs on the driver's side. Once you're all finished, now for winterization, definitely I would recommend that you leave this tap open, drain the boiler, and leave it open to let any moisture escape from the van. Once you're done, and obviously refilling the vehicle, don't forget to put this back into position again. This cap just goes back on, and then you just bring the bunk cushions back into place. So that covers the battery, boiler location, and the gas isolation tap for the boiler, and also the boiler drain valve. Following on from the boiler with the gas isolation tap for the hot water, if you lift the bunk on the passenger side of the vehicle, there are two extra taps, which you can see just hiding under here. And these are for the cooker and the hob unit. So that's where these two taps are located. So don't forget, there's one located next to the boiler, and then the other two are located on the passenger bunk, as seen just down here. Hiding just below the wardrobe cupboard and the other pull-out drawers, you're going to find this one right at the very bottom. So this one here is where the distribution board for the vehicle hides. So this is where you would have your master switch, you have your fuse board, and then you have your RDC trip switches just here, where you can run an RDC power test if you're hooked up. And then you can see here, then you would have all the individual lighting systems for all the other circuitry that is on the vehicle itself. Now, I do recommend that when you are traveling that you carry a box of spare fuses with you, just in case one of these fuses pops in the course of using the vehicle, then you have a replacement on hand, handy to use. As I said, you do have the isolator switches just here. So if you are winterizing your van and you want to isolate the electrical circuits at the back of the vehicle, then you do have the switches located down just here as well. And that there covers the distribution board and fuse board. Three. 3, 2, 1. So now let's take a wee look at the kitchen sink and we'll have a look at the gas hob. So obviously before using the kitchen sink, you need to make sure that you've got water in the fish tank and that you have turned the water pump on via the habitation control. And likewise for the gas system, make sure you've opened the isolation taps and you have turned the gas system on also via the habitation control. We'll cover that in the latter part of this video. So for the hot water, obviously for running water, we use the faucet control here, lift the faucet control up. That allows water to flow through and then adjusting it hot or cold as desired. And then just switching the faucet off once we're finished with the water side of things. So with the gas system, okay, I'm just going to turn the pump off just now for a second so you can hear me better. So with the gas systems here, when the gas is running and operated, we have the hob ring controls at the top here. And it's just a simple case of turning the gas on, igniting the gas. There we go, that's 1, 2, 3. And then we just adjust I'll just start that one again, there we go. And then we can adjust the flames by rotating the dials as we need to, and then switching back to 12 o'clock to turn the gas systems off. The oven control works on the device just here, and then you need to rotate it to the right for the grill, and then to the left for the oven, and this works in the same with the hob rings. You push and press the buttons to ignite the systems. So that covers the gas hobs and the kitchen sink unit. So we'll have a quick look at the oven and grill just to let you see the operations for them. As I mentioned, we're using the control device just to the side here, and we rotate it to the left and to the right depending on what device we're using. So we're going to use the grill first, and we're going to push this in and rotate it to the right, and then hold the button down. And that there is the grill now lit. I'm just going to lower this down just so you can see the gas. So that's the grill now lit. And then if we want to use the oven, we rotate the dial through to the left, all the way around, and then push it in and then ignite the cooker like so. And as you see just down there, there is the gas for the cooker. And then we just adjust the cooker by using the little rotary dial just to the side here, as it were. Then to turn the gas system off, we just rotate this back around again to the 0 position, and that then turns the gas off for the grill and for the oven. Let's take a look at the habitation control panel inside your auto sleeper. So this is located just above the entrance door as you come into the van, and it's a very simple screen to use. So just tap the screen at the bottom here where you've got the little on symbol, and that will then turn the control panel on. And this gives you all your various different options for controlling the vehicle. So you have your lighting circuit, and then we can turn the main lights on. We can put the awning light on, and we can also turn the entry light on as well. And we can then move further into the menu here, and then we can see how the power systems are doing. So we can see the battery statuses, the solar charging, and where the load for the power is. We move across again, then we have our water systems. So let's just see how much fresh water, how much wastewater we have. This is where we turn the water pump on. If we're using the external water line, which is on the outside of the van or the driver's side, which you saw in another part of the video, this is where we connect that to that water run through there as well. And this here is for your tank heater. This is your environmental information, so it gives you temperatures on the inside, humidity and external temperatures, so lets you better set the heating systems if need be. And then back round again. Now you do have a master menu, which you can quickly switch to those if you need to. And then finally, we have our gas circuit on and gas circuit off, as it were. So if you are looking to cook and for some reason you're not noticing the gas doesn't come through, it's probably because you haven't actually switched it on just here. We do have a help menu on all the screens, which lets you get more information on all the bits and bobs that you're seeing. Very helpful if the first couple of times you're not too sure what it is you actually need to access. But quick essence is just click what you're needing and then just follow the on screen to give you information about what you are looking for itself. To turn everything off, just press the button just at the bottom here. That turns this unit down, and then this screen will eventually switch itself off after a wee moment. And that there is the habitation control panel. So while we got this on, I'm going to put the gas on just now. We're going to move across and have a quick look at the Whale heating system. This is a very simple system to use. Once you've used it a couple of times, it'll make sense. So top one here is hot water, and the bottom button here is for heating. So for the hot water, it's a very simple case that we press the button, and then we can control the level of hot water that we want. So first things first, we tap the button and you can see the little green symbols that come up. So that's frost mode, gas mode. So we're not on hookup, so the hookup option is not available just now, but the hookup option is little wavy lines that give you the hookup option. So this now says that the water heater is now on with the gas, and I can control how much hot water I actually want by using this device here. So that gives us medium hot water, ideal for dishes. If we were using the shower device, then we can make the water hotter. So for the, I'm going to turn that off just now. So for the room heater, it's the lower one just at the bottom here, and again, it works in exactly the same fashion. So we press the button here and we ask it what we want in. Now we've got a gas on or off. Now again, the van's not on hookup, so we're not seeing the wavy symbol, but if you were on hookup, you would have the option to use the wavy symbol here as well. And again, with the room heater, we pick the room heater and then we can adjust the temperature as we need to. There is a night mode just here, so it keeps the heater on a very low cycle, just allow the van to stay warm in a cold night. And there is kind of a frost mode here as well. And then we just adjust it with the up and down arrows. When we're finished, we just press the heating button until we cycle through until the green light goes out. That's the green light now out. And that then is the heating system winding down. Now, sometimes if the gas system has been on, you will see a little light to the side here. This just lets you know that things are winding out. So that's it now gone out. So the whale system is now shut down correctly. If for whatever reason you get a red exclamation mark, that is to let you know there's something not right. So let's see if we can do that for you just now. I'm going to physically turn the gas system off. So you can see the gas circuit is off. I'm now going to ask the heating system to come on via the gas. And what should happen after a few moments, we should see that warning symbol because there's no gas supply actually available on board. And what will happen is you'll get a little red exclamation mark just on the side there. Now, if you do get the red exclamation mark, what you do need to do is obviously just work out what is going on. 9 times out of 10, it's probably because that the gas system hasn't been switched on properly, as it were. And then you'll get an error code. Now, to get the error code up, you would highlight the item here and then hold the negative button down, and that will then show you, depending on where this is positioned on here, what the error code actually would be, as it were. And then to reset, it would be a case of press the button here, hold down the negative button for a few more moments, and this then should reset. Or you can switch the control panel off of the HAB system, give it a few minutes, and then turn the system back on again. So that there is going to cover our heater systems. So there's still a little bit of gas in the system just now, so that's why we're not getting the error code. But I said if there was an error, you would get an exclamation mark to the side here to let you know that there is an issue that you need to check over. And that covers the whale system, and it covers our HAB control unit. Next, we're going to have a wee look at the Thetford toilet system that's fitted to your auto sleeper. So the toilet in the bathroom is a very simple device to use. First things first, what you will need to do is you will need to open the waste flap, which is hiding in here. You might not be able to see it, but there's a little flap that's covered over on the hole there. So to open the waste flap for use, we use this lever down here. We pull that to the side, and that then allows the flap to open. So you can see the flap opening and closing just there. Then you use the toilet as normal, and when you're ready, we then need to flush the toilet. So the flush is the blue button on the top of the unit just there. I'm just going to rotate the bowl so we can actually see the flush in action. So hold the button down, there's the flush, and then that flushes water through for you. Once you're all finished, don't forget to close the control flap, just to avoid any unpleasant smells coming back through from the toilet. Now, incidentally, if you are emptying the cassette toilet, then, and for whatever reason you can't remove the cassette toilet, it's probably a case that this flap has been accidentally left open, and that locks the cassette unit from being taken out from underneath the van. So if you are struggling to get the cassette unit out, come inside, just make sure that has been closed properly, and then that should allow the toilet cassette to go through. Now, when the toilet set is getting full, you will see a little red indicator light on top of the toilet unit here, just to let you know the cassette is getting ready for emptying. And that there covers our Thetford toilet. So while we're here in the bathroom, I would like to have a run around with the taps for you and the shower unit, which is located in the back. So obviously, if you're using the tap in the sink, you need to make sure that you've got fresh water on board and that you have got the water pump on. If the water pump's not on, you're not going to get water through from the tap. And these taps work just like the kitchen tap. You just raise the faucet up, water will come through like so, and you can control if the hot water's on, hot water to cold water like so. And then with the shower unit itself, that works in exactly the same fashion with the wee lever just here. If I turn that on just now, that's water coming down for you. And again, you can control that left and right on there depending on how hot or cold you want the water. So that covers all our bathroom amenities inside your Warwick XL. Moving on to the fridge that is fitted to your auto sleeper. It's worth noting that the fridge here is actually a double hinge fridge, so you can actually open the fridge from either side, whatever suits you. So it doesn't matter what side of the galley you are, you can get access to the fridge. So the fridge is controlled with the silver dial that you can see here in the center frame. So to turn the fridge on the first time, we're going to press and hold the button down until the fridge beeps, and you should see a little logo, there it goes, coming on. That's now the fridge switching on, and by default the fridge will set itself up to whatever mode it needs to. The fridge is intelligent, so if you're on hookup, the fridge will work on hookup. If you're off-grid, the fridge will work in off-grid mode. So right now you can see that the fridge is in battery mode, so it's running on the leisure system like so. So to make changes to the fridge, we basically press the button here, and then we then use the dial to rotate and select whatever we want, like so. And then if we want to make mode changes, if we go back to the menu and press, and then we just rotate this round like so. Oh, it's a little fiddly to do this one-handed, there we go. And then we've got user mode. And in there you have performance, quiet and boost. So performance mode is your normal operating mode. Quiet mode is if you want to set the fridge up for nighttime use. So as you hear there, see the noise of the fridge goes right down, goes into a very low compression cycle. And then finally we have a boost mode. So if you're in the van, just fresh in, got some groceries to go, but the fridge hasn't cooled down enough, boost mode puts the fridge into kind of like a sort of hardcore mode, if you like. It gets the fridge cooled as fast as possible. And then your regular mode, back at the top there, is your performance, which is your everyday operational mode. And then finally, back to the main menu, like so, and that takes us back around again. So on the display here, you can see thermostat settings, we're in battery mode, and then we are in performance mode just there for you. Now, when you finish using the fridge and you want to switch it off, maybe at the end of a trip or you're winterizing the vehicle and you don't need the fridge sitting on operation, then it's a case of waking up the display. As you notice the display goes dark, just press the button to wake the display up and it'll go bright, and then hold the button down for a few moments. The beep there lets us know that the fridge has now switched off. Now, when you are winterizing the vehicle, it's not a bad idea just to basically let the fridge vent. So in that case there, I've left the fridge slightly open and it just stops any mildew or dampness staying inside the fridge. It helps keep it fresh and cleaner for longer for you. And that there covers our Thetford fridge. Let's take a look at the primary driving controls in your auto sleeper Warwick. So let's start with the dashboard. So on the dashboard, we have a couple of displays. So we have our speedometer here on the left with a fuel gauge across the bottom. In the center is our computer interface, which we can change screens and controls by using the little buttons here on the side to give us all sorts of different types of messages, and we can check all different types of pieces of information on here, from range to MPG to oil life. Finally, on the right hand side, you have the rev counter, and then below that is the engine temperature. This will start to fill with extra bars as the vehicle warms up. And then warning lights, we currently have the headlights on, we have the handbrake on, and I haven't buckled my seatbelt, which is what this little red man over here is telling me at the moment. So on the steering wheel itself, as you saw just now, these buttons here allow me to change the menu systems. This allows us to answer a telephone call if an incoming phone call comes in, if you have the mobile paired with Bluetooth. And finally, to the side here, we have our cruise control system, and we have our limiter system here as well. So the cruise control is the button here. If we press this, we have the cruise control ready symbol appear on the dashboard, and then I can set the cruise control using the set buttons, and then I can adjust the speed of that as I go along. To turn the cruise control off, we can hit the button here to turn the system off, or if I need to use it again, I can put it into pause mode by using the button just here. For the limiter is the button in the middle, which has LIM written on it. When I press the limiter button, you'll see the limiter come on, and there's a little display just here for the speed, and then I can tell the vehicle by using the buttons here what speed I'd like the vehicle to stay at. Now at the moment I've got it set for 30 miles an hour, so if I drive the vehicle, when I reach 30 miles an hour, the vehicle will electronically inhibit me from going any faster. Now bear in mind that is an electronically inhibitor. It doesn't physically stop the vehicle, so I can potentially coast over that speed. So the van won't put on any brakes. It's just trying to avoid the throttle position, let me go across the speed that I've set. So to turn it off, we just press the limb button and that switches that back off again. So we've got our light controls on the side here. So this puts our lights off. We have our sides and dips, and then we have our beams forward and then back again, and then back towards me again as a flasher. Okay, indicators are up and down, and you have the lane indicator version on this. So a light flick, as you see there, without cancelling, will do 3 flicks and then turn itself off. On the opposite side, we have the wiper controls. So the wiper controls are located on the wiper stalk just here, and you move the stalk to all the various different positions, and the button just here allows me to change the speed of the intermittent, low speed, high speed, and then wash wipers towards me like so. That'll activate our wash wiper, and that there is the wiper controls. So moving further down, okay, we have the control switches here for the stop-start system. So when you come to a halt, the vehicle can come to turn the battery off for you. If you want to turn it off, there's a button there for it. And then we have our fog lights. Just turn the wipers off. So we have our fog lights just here, and then we have our headlight levels, which is this button just there. Moving further down, we have the handbrake, which is located here. Now the handbrake will automatically disengage when you attempt to drive away, but bear in mind that it doesn't turn itself on when you switch the ignition off. Now the button moves like a handbrake does. I'm just going to put my foot on the brake here for a second. So if I want to turn the handbrake off, okay, so if you think of a handbrake in the up position, we are pushing the button and pushing the handbrake down. So handbrake down would be button down to turn the handbrake off. Put the handbrake on is we're lifting the handbrake up. We are pulling the button up, and that will then turn the handbrake on, indicated by the light just here, and you'll also see the handbrake light here on the dashboard as well. So on the door card, we have our mirror controls. So we use these to adjust the mirror that we want to adjust, and then physically move the mirror like a little joystick, and that will allow the mirror to move. As you can see there, the mirror is moving about. And then if I want to adjust the lower mirror, I move that to the lower mirror position, and then I can move the lower mirror like so as well with the joystick control. Don't forget to put that back to the 12 o'clock so you don't accidentally knock the mirror out of position when you catch it with an elbow sign like that. Front windows, and then we have the rear unlock button for the cab section of the vehicle. If you unlock it with just the top part of the key, it doesn't unlock the rear. You can do that with a button there, or obviously use the key again to unlock the cab section. So moving across to the center controls for the gearbox and that. So on the gearbox, there is a safety trigger here, which you can only engage when your foot is on the brake. So I'm going to try and put this at an angle so you can see the leather and the brake. So you see the button won't go in. If I put my foot on the brake, the button will now go in. That is a 2-point safety system to make sure that the vehicle is secure when you put the vehicle into drive. So the gearbox goes straight up and down. So, and you will see an indicator on the dashboard when I move the gear stick. So if we go down to reverse, you'll see R, and you'll notice the reversing camera will now come on the screen just here. And then we move down to neutral. So we have an N, and then finally down to drive, and you'll see the little D on here for drive. Now, the gearbox does have a manual control while you're in drive. To use the manual control, we move the gear stick to the left, like so, and you'll notice that the D symbol disappears and it's replaced with a number. So to move the gearbox up and down, we have the plus and minus control here. So to move the gearbox up, we flick the stick down, like so. That moves the gearbox to gear 2. And then to move the gearbox back to gear 1, or move down the gearbox, we just flick the stalk up like so. We can do that at speed. We can change between the two modes on the go, as it were. And to switch it back to drive, we just flick the stalk back across. That's now back in drive mode, and you'll see that with the D symbol here on the dashboard display. So that covers the gearbox side of things. So the engine has 3 engine profiles, which you can be aware of, which is the drive mode button just here. The regular drive mode is normal. So if I press the button, you'll have normal, power, and eco. So when I am in normal profile, the engine is balanced. It uses a mix of being efficient as well as providing power as you need to. If I wanted the vehicle to be more frugal, so slow the throttle response down, let the gearbox take a little bit longer to work its way through the gears, just make things easy and best to increase the consumption, I will press the button till I highlight Eco. Now what will happen on the dashboard when this display vanishes, you'll see the Eco symbol now appeared on the dash just up the top here, just to remind you that you're in Eco mode for the engine. If I was driving and I want maximum power from the engine all the time, so this allows the gearbox to quickly move through the gears, and provides as much power as possible, I will select the power mode, and then when the power mode is engaged, you'll notice that in the top corner of the display you have PWR for power mode. Now by default the vehicle will always start back in normal mode, so if you switch the engine off and come back into the van and you want to use the eco mode or the power mode again, you will need to come along and press the button here again to engage the mode that you want to engage. So moving further across on the dashboard, now we have our radio system in here. Now I'm not going to go into much depth about the radio system because that is a whole video all to itself, but it is fairly straightforward. Just a quick one here: your home screen, you have your media screen, you have your phone screen, you have your vehicle screen to change bits and pieces of the vehicle, and then finally you have your app screen at the bottom there, as it were. On the day we will look at maybe pairing a mobile phone with you if you wish to. So moving down, we have our heating system. So we have the flow of air, how sparse that is, where the air is actually going, and whether we have the circulator on or off, and then finally the temperature around the top just here. And then we have our air conditioning button, which will only come on if the air conditioner is running, which will light up for the air conditioning system like so. Moving down, we have our rear demister, we have our volume and power button for the radio system, we have a lock-in, traction control, and our hill descent mode. I'm not going to go into too much depth about these either. These are fully covered in your owner's book. And again, if you need more information about these, do please ask on the day and we'll go over these in a little bit more detail for you. And that there covers the main drive and operations of your auto sleeper. For nighttime parking, you will probably want to make sure that the vehicle is all private and darkened out for nighttime use, and that would involve using the cab blinds located in the front of the vehicle. Now your auto sleeper has the Remus style blinds which come out from the side here, give these a little squeeze and they pull out, and there's a magnet or strip here which allows this blind to magnetically connect to its brother on the other side of the van. The side blinds come out from here, and they again squeeze and then just work the blind across nice and gently, and then the magnet here will clip to the edge of the window like so, and that will then give you your blinds. Now do please be careful, these blinds are very lightweight, they don't take too much punishment just because they're super thin for weightness in the van. So when you're retracting the blind across, just take your time and just help the blind across by a nice gentle motion and then bringing it back in, and don't forget to secure it neatly with the click in the side there. Now the reason I want to make sure that's secure, because if it hasn't been secured correctly, you can imagine if it's sitting like that and you go around a roundabout or a corner, the blind is going to fall across your line of vision and could potentially cause an accident. So do make sure when you've put the blinds away that you have fully pushed them in and that they have clicked back into place. And that there covers our front cab blinds with the Remy system. So that was a handover video for the auto sleeper Warwick XL. I hope you find it useful and helps get you familiar with the main key functions and operations of your vehicle for your first few trips away. Now, as I said at the start of the video, I do recommend that you maybe bookmark, download the video for future reference, and you have it handy if you need it for in the future. But of course, myself and the rest of the team here at Highland Campers are always on hand to help you if you're ever stuck out and about. So please do reach out to us and let us know if we can help at all for winterization or if you're on campsites, things like that, as it were. All that's left for me to say is I wish you many happy miles motoring in your vehicle, and I look forward to seeing you again here at Highland Camper Vans. Bye for now.